And to be honest with you, I feel like one of the reasons why, other companies are giving into all of these outrageous compensation packages because they know the writing on the wall. They know that eventually these jobs are going to be automated and then they're going to be obsolete. They know. So fine. We're going to take the pain for a couple of years until we actually figure out the automation. Just got laid off from Scotiabank, replaced by a guy from India. This is on, I don't know, Reddit or something like that. I just got laid off from my IT job at Scotiabank, replaced by someone they got from India. To add to the indignity, they made me train the guy. Okay? And then it just kind of goes on and on and on and on and on. Basically, I hate our government and I hate our corporations who collude to work against Canadians. My family has paid taxes here for 50 plus years. Is this the payback? It wasn't just me. There have been other Canadians in my office this happened to also replaced by Indians. One of them was just 3 years away from retirement. So whatever. They keep on going, is there any kind of legal ramifications for doing it? Yada, yada, yada. I have a little bit of a different take on this kind of situation. In my opinion, and I'll say this till I fucking die, I don't care, and I stand by this, and a lot of people don't. They try to call me out a lot of times on especially on TikTok when I mention that, a lot of union type talk that I'm mentioning. You and I both worked in union environments. We all know how they operate. If you're not bringing anything extra to the table these days, that will happen, and it will only get worse because you have demographics and you have nations that want a better life and are willing to go the extra mile for that. And you have a lot of people in this country that are very complacent. They're entitled. And they don't want to take that approach. And then when something like this happens, they're shocked. So I will beat this like a dead horse. Moving forward in this world, if you're not bringing more value than what you're being compensated for, you are treading a fine line. Because the world is a lot smaller now. There's relaxed immigration policies. So you're no longer competing with, say, Windsor. You're competing on a global scale. And I feel like that's the issue that we're having in today's society. We're not having an employment issue. We're having a lack of self-awareness issue in today's society. And I see it a lot on social media, and I see it a lot when people are mentioning that, unions protect the workers, and if it wasn't for unions, we wouldn't be making anything. And my argument to that argument is that right there is proving my theory that because of the union, your wage and your compensation is artificially inflated. And that also is dangerous because once that's up, like look at me even. I just spent over $1 million in automated equipment. Automated. There's a reason for that. If the return on human capital was greater than over $1 million in automation equipment, I wouldn't invest in the automation equipment. The fact of the matter is the return on the automation equipment is significantly greater. I don't have to deal with bullshit.
No sick days.
I don't have to deal with a lot of the
benefits.
bullshit.
Yeah.
But if it was the reverse, it's simple math. You can't stop arguing math and stop arguing merit. If the merit was there, I wouldn't do it, and other companies wouldn't do it. And to be honest with you, I feel like one of the reasons why other companies are giving into all of these outrageous compensation packages because they know the writing on the wall. They know that eventually these jobs are going to be automated and then they're going to be obsolete. They know. So fine. We're going to take the pain for a couple of years until we actually figure out the automation.
That's a good point.
Like, it's going to happen. It's been happening for a long time. I saw it when I was even working at GM. Mm-hmm. They started introducing all kinds of robots, and this was, how long was this going? 20 years ago? So, like, 15, 20 years ago, I saw it happening. You can only imagine where the world's going now.
I saw a robot sanding drywall, like, mud tape sand.
Are you actually
Yeah,
serious?
it was in China. It was,
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah. I don't know.
It probably did a better job.
Probably.
Now, again, I am all for someone making, gobs of money. Because at the end of the day, if that person is getting paid a ton of money, then that person deserves it. And I feel that my argument is the free market will dictate that. And my another argument that I see a lot of is people will tell me, and I see a lot of people trying to back up employers and employees, mentioning that employers will never compensate employees the way that they should be. But my argument is a lot of times, and the majority of the time, employees lack the self-awareness to realize that they're not as good as they actually think they are, or maybe they're not producing enough as they should be in order to justify what they want to make. That's the divide. As an employer with a lot of employees, I'm not going to risk letting go of a rock star. I'm not going to do it. Because if that rock star is producing so much more value where that person is arguably irreplaceable, or I don't know that I'm going to be able to replace that level of value, it's not going to happen. That person is going to be compensated for the merit that he's providing. But a lot of these arguments that these people perpetuate, they're lacking the self-awareness to realize that maybe you're actually shit. Maybe you're just not worth what you think you're worth.
I come in, I complain, I call in sick twice a week.
Yeah.
I do the bare minimum, but I want X amount. That's where, government intervention, which is minimum wage, that's a form of government 100%. Intervention. I'm not going to sit here and argue for or against it. What I'm going to say is that it has consequences.
Yeah.
And the consequences are, people think, I just got my wage increase from $15.50 to $16.60 or something. That's happening now, I think, in Ontario. What they don't understand is, okay, you just made more money, but because that's inflationary, everybody's now getting an extra $1 an hour.
Of course.
That means the employer has to pay an extra $1. That means the employer, whatever they produce, is going to go up $1 an hour. Mm-hmm. They're just going to pass on to the consumer. And your standard of living is probably going to go down.
Yeah.
Because of minimum wage, because of unions. Your actual standard of living, because the cost of production for all the producers is going up so quickly, and not only wages, but compensation, benefits, healthcare, all that stuff. Yeah. So, make $1 extra on paper, but in reality, I'm actually losing purchasing power. Yeah. Not only because of the minimum wage, but also because of the other government intervention, such as money printing, immigration, inflation, all those other things. You're focusing on the wrong thing. You're focusing on, can the government come in and save me? Can my union come in and save me? Rather than how do I produce more money by being a great employee earning my increased wage, rather than just giving everybody, regardless of your production profile, the exact same wage. Isn't really a great business model for a country or a province or a business. Yeah, that's when merit is no longer the dictating force. That's socialism.
100%. It's socialism on a micro level, right?
Yeah,
union,
exactly.
Unionized
at a very base level, but it's happening at all levels, especially in a country like Canada.
Yeah. Did you not see when you were working for the government? Did you not see that when you were working there, nobody went above and beyond, or if anything, productivity,
a slow and steady decline.
Right? Because why would you? If you're getting paid the same amount as everybody else, why would you actually go above and beyond? And those that probably came into that environment, and I'm speaking from experience, I saw it. Those that came into that environment when you were working, I would argue, even if they did have a good work ethic, eventually,
I was the person with the good work ethic,
right?
I went to university. I studied. I wanted this job more than anything. I came in there like a dog. I've worked for 30 years straight. I've always worked. I came in there like a dog. How do I want to do this. I want to get a rest. I want to I want to do all these things. I want to get drug seizures at the border, all these things. After a while, man, you just get beat down so much.
And what did you end up seeing too? I remember you mentioning too that
the more work you do, the more trouble you get in.
It's not crazy.
It's actually backwards. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Like you're on the radar.
Yeah,
you're because you're making more work for other people.
You're making more work for other
people. They
people.
don't want to.
I remember
do
you
more
mentioning that, like when you would call people in to get searched or whatever, people get pissed.
Oh yeah, everybody would, right?
Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah. And then like if you got an arrest at the end of your shift, now you're on overtime. Now the supervisor's mad because now they have a budget. Well, now I got to pay you overtime or 3 officers overtime. You know, like they wouldn't say anything, but you could just tell, like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
So it just became a descent into lowest productivity possible.
Yeah, of course.
Which is why socialism always fails. Which is why I also think there's a lot of people that think that we're gonna go full socialism. I think they know that it won't work, so they're trying to do like a hybrid.
Interesting.
Right, get their tentacles in as much things as possible while still keeping it relatively free. And they do that by just hammering you with taxes, hammering you with red tape, making it very difficult to get to a higher level. But those who do get to the higher level will be very, very, very wealthy because the competition's so minimal. Whether it's home ownership, business, right? Like even if somebody wanted to try to compete with you, how many hurdles do you have to jump through, right? Like you actually said you seek out hurdles. The more hurdles, the better in a way.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I gotta stop seeking them out, but yeah,
I gotta stop seeking.
Yeah, you know, yeah. I gotta just focus. I have a problem focusing a little bit. I always like to.
You don't say.
I like to do a lot of new things. You know what I mean? But no, I gotta focus on the golden geese. The golden geese.
Goose. Yeah.
I know, but I have geese.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that the right? Yeah. I've got more than one goose. Right. A couple. But yeah.